Hello and welcome to another weekend preview. I'm joined by Jamie Wren and we've got Allan back again. He does the Fantasy Horse Racing Super Stable. I think I've said that right, Allan, have I?
Better than last time, yeah.
How are things going with that? You got any competitions coming up they should know about?
I'm going to do a Cheltenham special on Saturday, so that'll open on Friday night, and that'll just be covering Trials Day, just the ITV races. And then next weekend, I'll do the Dublin Racing Festival special for the 2 days. And Hacked Up Racing have sponsored a cushion for it, a racing cushion.
Oh, nice.
So we might be able to see how it works, but we'll get some of the horses from the winning stable on the cushion, so you can remember it forever. And obviously then Cheltenham will be coming up, so we'll have a Fantasy Cheltenham as well. So yeah, plenty coming up. It's on every week as well. So superstable.co.uk. 13 to follow is the weekly competition, and there's the season-long one, but there's no point entering that now, is there? So. And if you win each week, when you win a prize from Hacked Up Racing. I'll get you a mug or something, and then the winner each week goes into the sweepstake for the Grand National, and the season winner takes 10 spots. So we get 40 qualifiers in the sweepstake, and the winner wins a share in a racehorse with one of the racing clubs, like Pentland Hills, whatnot.
Oh, beautiful!
That. Yeah, and race owners clubs. So, yeah. It's good fun, and it's all free. So there you go. That'll do it.
Beautiful. Right, so that's 90 seconds of a plug out the way. Jamie, plug this week?
Again, Dave?
Have you got anything to plug this week?
No.
Perfect. So we can just talk about the racing. So obviously it's Cheltenham Festival the Trials Day meeting on Saturday. There's some other good action around in Ireland as far as I'm concerned. But I just thought it'd be handy to review the stuff that happened last weekend, given we had some pretty high-class action. The feature race, obviously, of the whole weekend was the Clarence House Chase, Defi de Sul, Indeso. I mean, I know there's lots of talk about the pace and all those sort of things, but regardless of how anything happened, Defi de Sul hacked up as far as I'm concerned. I'm quite happy to take it as face value. What do you guys think, Jamie? I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I see a lot of people right there saying it was a 14-run race at Paul Town, they're giving up on Paul Town and not being Rui Walsh. Give the guy a break. Like, he tried his best to try to get him to beat. It doesn't matter, but regardless of either a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 9-year-old, doesn't matter. We're still always going to be one winner. Like, if he went out very fast, he'd have been beaten by 20 lengths anyway. You know what I mean? So I think where people are cribbing Defi Desai is that the fact of the matter is that he hasn't beaten an Altior, he hasn't beaten a Cheltenham or Spa, he's only beaten Understow and a Palislog. How can he be favoured for the Queen Mother? That's where a lot of people are coming from. But I can't see, as I said to you in the previous time I was on, that I always feel the Queen Mother Championship is won by this year's horse, and he is this year's horse. He is the most exciting horse at the moment. At the moment, I think the only danger to him is Cheltenham Poursois. You might think I'm mad, but I think it is Altior. You just have to see him in the game spirit. But Altior could turn up game spirit. He could back to the Altior we always know and love. But at the moment, it's move on. Wait till see who's the best in the Queen Mother.
Yeah, I think you're right, and it's important as well, like you were saying, with Altior and Cheltenham Poursois being so close in the betting. Altior's been beaten this season, Cheltenham Poursois has been beaten this season. Neither of them have won. Probably not been ideal preparation for either of them because they might have wanted to get more runs into Cheltenham Poursois. It'll be interesting at the Dublin Racing Festival, but yeah, I think Defi just needs to start giving some credit. What do you make of it all? Had anything interesting at Ascot away from Defi?
No, just touching on that Defi de Sul. I can't believe people thought he was going to go off the way he used to go off. That wasn't going to happen. He's still a class, but he's not. He wasn't that good. And I said to you the last time as well, coming to Altior, there's a reason they were looking to step him up in trip. I think Defi de Sul is the reason. So that's it. That's not.
Well, beauty. So we're all Defi fans at this point then. I do still think Altior could be the horse to beat, but like Jamie said, we'll just have to see what he does in the game spirit. The Irish Racing Festival will be brilliant to see Cheltenham Poursois, because if something like Silas Emery puts him in his place, and then Silas Emery all of a sudden has done nothing wrong this season, it's just nice that we've actually might have a quite competitive champion chase for once. So I'm quite looking forward to it. Also at Ascot we had, I'm getting fed up of talking about him. We haven't mentioned him that much, to be fair. Goshen, Jamie Moore's horse. or
Yeah.
Gary Moore's horse, Jamie Moore Road. I mean, I want to somehow say that he's not going to be good enough to win the Triumph, but he just keeps winning, doesn't he? I know his jumping's erratic and it's all a bit dangerous, but they are some performances. What have you been making of him, Alan?
I think if you've got doubts of horses at this stage, thinking about Cheltenham, the one that always springs to mind is that Dungweb. Remember, everyone had doubts about him going to Cheltenham, but everybody was, I think if you've got doubts at this stage, they're usually, there'll be a classy one will turn up. I mean, he's decent, but we need to see him. It's a complete, if he gets the festival, it's a completely different level. I think he might. Yeah. I don't think I myself, I wouldn't be backing him at Cheltenham. No.
Yeah, see, I've not got interested in him. I just can't get excited about him. Although when you see horses doing things like that, I'm just wondering whether there's something wrong with me. Jamie, do you like him or not really?
I think he's not offensive. If you look at it, I agree with that about Duncan. Like this horse, watch his race at Fatmel, you would say straight away. He hasn't got a hope and a prayer in a Triumph hurdle. He's all over the place. And the only thing is now he'll want to keep up with All Mankind at the front. So they're gonna cut each other's throat. To be honest with you, I haven't seen a standout Triumph hurdle horse. But Vortex has is the one at the moment. If I was having a bet, but at the moment, the Triumph hurdle. Wait, as I said to the last, wait for the Adonis and wait for the Spring Juvenile. You'll know that.
Yeah, and it's one of those as well. The horses that I can't remember what the actual statistical record is, but horses that have had a big break going into the Triumph have not won it. All Mankind, because he's going to be skipping this particular meeting and going straight there. I don't think any Triumph horse has won from the length break that he's going to have had. So you are right. When you get to the Spring Juvenile, you get to the Adonis. They're the sort of races where these Triumph hurdles winners come up, don't they? One other race at Ascot's probably worth mentioning from my perspective is the fact that Thomas Darby finally won back over hurdles. Now, the only reason I think it's worth mentioning him is just to get a bit of a sighter in the fact that I thought the champion hurdle trial at Haydock was absolute pish. So, is Thomas Darby in some sort of champion hurdle pitch now after winning a handicap?
No.
Good. And then any of those that...
I'm absolutely sick this horse one day. Remember I mentioned him last time in the I'm absolutely sick he won. I didn't think he'd stay that far, to be honest with you. But he's after blowing his handicap mark. Now I think they're earmarked at the entry hurdle. Like what did he been off there? 1.5 odd, was it 1.5 odd? He's probably up to 1.58 now. The handicaps are gone. So I think Ollie Murphy's at the entry hurdle next. I think they might be skipping Cheltenham.
That's it, yeah. It was just the fact that I thought the same as you that he'd be going and winning a handicap hurdle. I just didn't think it'd be first time out. I thought maybe go and get him beat and then see what he does. But just to, like I say, the only reason I really mentioned him is just to tie in against that champion hurdle trial. I mean, Ballyandy, considering all his runs over 2 miles, I don't think he's ever been outside the first 4 this season, considering where he's finished. I think it was his second in the International. He was maybe third at Kempton. And then he's obviously gone and won this. That's actually a champion hurdle trial. He's still quite a big price for a champion hurdle, but I just can't have any horse in that race being good enough to be even placed in a champion hurdle. Alan, what do you make of it, mate?
That Pentland Hills is not finishing his races. I don't know what it is. He's just not seen them out. Nothing from that will feature on a champion hurdle. Not yet. I mean, Ballyandy is admirable, but he's not. I mean, who was that horse? Remember he ran it when he the bumper, and then they had the novice hurdle in
the Betfair hurdle.
Perth. Was it Perth?
Oh yeah.
Remember David Pipe's horse?
Moonracer.
Moonracer. Yeah, that. Everyone was hyped up about him then. That was a long time ago. He's not. Nothing from that race. The third. I mean, he's another one. You maybe see him running decent enough at entry.
Yeah.
You just keep going there. So he'd be one to be interested in if they took him to entry. So.
But yeah, it was considering it's a Grade 2 and it's marked as a champion hurdle trial. I get a bit frustrated that it is classed as that because it's not. There was the Sky Bet Supreme trial, the Rossington Main, where Stolen Silver was another ride for Sam Twiston Davis that sort of came out of the clouds to pick it up. My full impression from that particular race was I was hoping Stolen Silver wasn't going to go there and was going to go Betfair Hurdle because I fancied him for that. But anyway, he won on Saturday. I was actually seriously impressed with Edwardstone out of all of them, considering probably wouldn't have liked the ground, had the hood on. But again, I don't think any of them should be good enough to be winning at the Cheltenham Festival. Jamie, do you think otherwise?
Well, I can't have any of them anyway, Dave, the Supreme. Not couldn't have. I can't see even with the heavy ground or not. I can't see them anywhere near good enough to win the Supreme, or not even being placed in the Supreme.
Yeah, no, that's
fair. Getting back to the. I thought I'd never say this. Getting back to that champion hurdle trial. The only thing that will save Cheltenham Hills, I think, is that it's the champion hurdles run on the speed track, the old track, right? I think he will get placed. I watched it say about 50 times. I think he'll travel into the straight, and the question is, will he find? I think he'll be on the bridle coming to that Cheltenham Hills. Will he find up the hill? Last year he found up the hill in the Triumph. I think he needs to go down at a real test of speed, and then you might see him as better lighted. I think the Boyne did go too early the last day on heavy ground. But as you said, I kind of agree with Allan that he's not finishing out these races like he was last year.
Yeah,
so
his head went up. His head went up on Saturday, and he was stopping. He wasn't. I think there's maybe a wind up or something. I would not be surprised if there's a.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And he was last season, like you touched on, Jamie. He travelled so well into the Triumph, travelled so well into that win at Aintree as well. I do always worry about those horses that do travel like that, and those sort of maybe bridle horses. Although he did find last season, when they get stepped up in class, they sometimes seem to get found out, don't they? The other Grade 2 at Haydock was the Outcar Novices Chase. Sam Brown, I thought was, 15 lengths is the winning margin, 25 lengths back to the third. It was impressive enough, but I guess he's just doing all his work because it's on heavy ground. They're talking about going to the Reynoldstown Chase at Ascot if the ground's heavy there, and then potentially a pitch in at the RSA if it was heavy. But he's a nice enough type, 8-year-old now, but he does just look like he's an absolute mudlark, do you think?
Oh yeah, can't see him. Can't see any of those horses again. Featuring at Cheltenham might be amazing.
Beautiful. And then we did have some action over at Navan as well on the Saturday. Minella Indo is probably the only one that's do you know what? I will mention another one as well. Gordon Elliott's winner of the first Fleur, the rated novice hurdle, was given a bit of weight away to quite a few of the runners. Drifted like a barge, maybe up to 10 minutes, 15 minutes before the off. It was 100 to 30 open first show. Went out to 16 to 1, and then it got back into 4 to 1. Won quite cosy enough in the end. First start for Gordon Elliott. He owns it as well. So I just wonder whether that performance, given that Cade Boy's not too bad, might have ruined him for a handicap mark. But we know that Elliott likes to send a few to the Martin Pipe, and that's the one that he wants to go for. I want Colin Maffire to be the one. That Fleur does strike me as the sort of horse that's going to pop up at one of the spring festivals and win something, I think. But yeah, Minella Indo, the beginner's chase. Allan, I'll let you have a little say on that. What do you make of Minella Indo?
Again, it's not. We never really saw anything this weekend at all that you would be getting excited about, and that was just another one. It was quite ordinary. I don't get very excited about it. Nice horse, but he's not. Again, not Cheltenham, is it?
Yeah, I've got that sort of vibe about him as well. What do you think of him, Jamie?
I wasn't impressed, but last year you have to remember that the same horse, as you mentioned, Dave, there before, was beaten by Allaho, and she wasn't impressive at all. And she seemed to come alive in the spring. So I took that run with a pinch of salt. Obviously not going to be fully wound up. And she had him all the way around the outside for the whole race. What she's doing. But there was obviously a teaching point of view, probably better ground on the right-hand side of the track near the walk pathway. But I'd still give him a chance in the RSA. Oh, definitely. You can't discount the Cheltenham Festival winner. I know Diablo Barton is a boat race and it's a different track, the RSA, but I still wouldn't discount him whatsoever because you never know what the champ's going to do.
No, that's it. And I think with Minella Indo as well, they've obviously lightly campaigned in this season. I'd like to say I do think the better ground might see him in better light. So you'd think that he's going to have to step up on that performance. But it was just one of them that, because it was his second start, I was just expecting maybe a little bit more from him. I'm probably being overcritical.
That's why I thought he was going to go bang, and But it was just quite ordinary. You know?
Yeah, and that's how I feel as well about it. It's sometimes the case though when I look back at some previous festival winners, when I go back and look what they did during the season, you can sometimes be overcritical of some of these stay-in chases as well, because I think they just need to get them to peak in the spring, and sometimes trainers know that. But I still just expected a little bit more, especially considering that was the last run before Cheltenham.
The thing is, though, how many performances so far have been other than ordinary? It's going to be one where we look back at the form. It was very ordinary coming in. Chases wide open this year.
Yeah. Unless it's heavy, and then Sam Brown's 70-length demolition and then 15 demolition actually does look quite good. On Sunday, Thurles, there was some good action over there. Monkfish. I was pretty taken by that performance, to be honest. Any horse that goes through that ground wins like that. I think there was a couple of hurdles omitted because of low sun, or maybe there was just the one, but I thought he looked pretty good, to be honest. And I think that Willie Mullins' horse, this Latour, although it's not top class, they do think that's half decent. So the fact that it's 25 lengths clear of that, I would, as much as you don't really pick out an Albert Bartlett winner this far out, maybe, he looked like an Albert Bartlett horse to me. Jamie, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Jeez, he was impressive. Didn't think he was going to be that impressive, but you know yourself, Albert Bartlett, and it seems to be huge raw Temple horse, so you couldn't discount him anyway. It all depends, who Paul Town is going to pick. Like, they have Lord Ryland there as well, and there's a few others, but till you see the final lineup of the Albert Bartlett, you'll have to say, but he's definitely winning with it. Definitely with a good shout. Like, if you look, the time was only 15 seconds lower than standard, and Thurles can get very boggish. I wouldn't be overly confident, but you might see him in the first three. Just my opinion at the moment.
Yeah, it's a hard one of those races, but it was the fact he did seem to do it nicely enough. One horse that didn't do it, well, no, let's talk about the winner actually. Another horse that did it nicely enough, Real Steel in the Horse and Jockey Hotel Chase. Now, I did expect that Footpad would win, but when I realised the ground had dried up a little bit, and Real Steel is a right-hand merchant, I actually thought to myself, do you know what? Although I still expected Footpad to win, the prices were probably a little bit too far apart for my liking. I didn't expect that they'd be so far clear of everything else as well, though. So I'm just worried that Real Steel's a right-hand merchant. I thought it was quite a nice performance. Alan, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I liked it. I think he's a bit, same as you. I think he was probably underrated for the two of them going into it. Footpad's he's just not the horse he was. And maybe Real Steel, I would take that at face value. I would take that.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think Willie Mullins has mentioned they're going to talk to the owners about it, whether they go to a Ryanair. He could be one of them that proves me wrong and goes and bolts up around Cheltenham, but I just think he's better right-handed. What do you think of him, Jamie?
He's a horse for Fairy House punches down there. Forget about him for Cheltenham. He's no chance.
Beautiful. That's what we needed. Right. We have spent slightly more than my allocated slot on the review, but that's my fault. I like to waffle. We're going to just get straight on with Trials Day at Cheltenham. The beauty of having Allan on here, the old super stable fantasy horse racing.com.uk, he's got stats galore for us. So you must have some stats on the finesse hurdle, the juvenile, the opening race of the day.
Yeah, some of them are strong. Some of the races are stronger than others. The opener, though, it's very obvious trends here. You're looking for the first or second last time out, run within the last 7 weeks. And it's a strong race at the top of the market. We've got 12 or 16 come from the top. So, there are loads of other trends, but I like to focus on the strongest trends and tweak a few of them and form them. But that's the trends I concentrate on for this one. And it's tossed up. I won't name them out. So we've got Cerebrus, Navajo Pass, Blacko, Roland Ward, and Galahad Quest.
Yep.
So that's the ones I get. And of them, it's not very obvious, but it's quite hard to see past Cerebrus at the minute, isn't it? He's got that nice form, by all mankind. Blacko's another one. I'm into it. I just think, for myself, even even before I'd gone through it, he was the one that was standing out. So
Yeah.
that would do for me. But he's short. He's 5'2".
Yeah, and I think, well, to be fair, this because there's lots of races that, well, especially the Trials Day meeting, that I get really excited about. The finesse hurdle, I was excited because I was expecting to see All Mankind come in and get tested again and see what he can do and all that sort of stuff. The fact he's not running slightly underwhelming. I do think that Navajo's pass will be interesting. The only slight thing with him is if the ground does manage to dry up by Saturday, it was officially soft all over, but I think it's going to get a bit quicker. That might go against him. But I actually watched his race back at Doncaster before Christmas, and he absolutely battered the last. I'm a little bit surprised that he managed to stay up. Another jockey might not have done so, but probably was maybe a better performance than it looked at first glance. He is now officially rated 140, so he is the top rated runner in the race. Well, joint with Monte Cristo, Nicky Henderson's ex-French recruit. But I'd like to think that Cerberus would be better than he, well, not better than he showed at Chepstow. I just like to think that Cerberus could be quite good, and I'd like to think that he might be the one in here. But it is not a race that I would be possibly entertaining having a bet in there. Jamie, can you pinch any value from anywhere?
To be honest with you, Dave, I think this Cerberus, Gordon Ellis, Cerberus, recent revelations, and Tranador there around the weekend. I think he's just entered these horses to get to see what handicap mark they have in Britain. I can't see them over for it. I think they might. I might be told the Cerberus might. But I was really taken by this recent revelation. He bolted up at Cork the last day. He's actually getting a PHA mark of 132. Like that, obviously, he's going to go to Fred Winter. Tranador got 129. 129 might sneak in. Do you know what I mean? If I was having a bet, the most interesting horse entered is Monte Cristo from the French form, and he's rated 140 like Navajo Pass. So you have to see it's between the two of them, and Navajo Pass is jocked up already. So that would probably be the selection at the moment. The form he has from the Navajo Pass when the summit at Doncaster.
Yeah, that's it. And that was the one where he hit the last hurdles. Yeah, so I think, I mean, I won't be playing in the race, but I mean, he'd be the one that I'd probably land on maybe at the prices now, like you say, jocked up. While Brian Hughes is being mentioned there, obviously Richard Johnson, didn't he? Broke his arm today. Don't know how long he'll be out for. Obviously disappointing for him, but it's things like this. It's these sort of wins for Brian Hughes. Although he's going to be looking about just to go and notch up winners now, he'll want to go and win decent races, and this looks probably a good opportunity for him. That Tronador that you mentioned there that got the 129 official rating, which is obviously the British mark, that was the one that was behind that Fleur of the other Gordon Elliott runner. He was getting almost 2 stone that day on Sunday, and he was beaten 4 lengths by him. So you'd think BHA rating wise, if he's a 129 horse, that Fleur in literal terms could be like a 150 horse. But anywho, that's enough of me milking that horse. We'll skip him. I don't know what we'll just do him in race card order. Time form novices handicap chase is up next. Another one of Gordon Elliott's. Jamie, like you say, he's been entered to find his mark. Sam Crow gets 157. Dallas Depicton gets 147, which is, I think, was it 12 or 15, 12 pounds higher than his Irish mark he got the day before. So it's a bit not ideal. It's another race that I haven't really got a massive opinion on at the moment. Imperial Aura was the one that when I had a brief look through, I sort of fell on, but the price that he is shocking. I would be waiting for final declaration to look through there. But before we come to you, Jamie, Allan, do you have any funky stats?
Oh, we've got a few more stats on this one. So we're looking for rated 128 plus, 8 or younger. They've won no more than twice over fences. Placed last time out, and they have the 2 mile 4 furlong plus win over fences. And we come out with your one comes out at the top, Imperial Aura. Mercy Me, Burbank, Go With The Flow, Cloudy Glen, Paint the Dream, and then obviously you've got Sam Crow in there, Won't Go, Encore Champs. That's your lot. That's it for the trends there. So, and I was like you, I think Imperial Aura, I think Pim's a decent enough horse there. There's nothing else you're looking through that you would go, there's nothing there that you're thinking they've got really strong form coming into it, but Pim's not a bad animal. He's got that's decent form around Cheltenham as well. Mercy Me, though, he's jocked up. Dashing Park, he had behind him at Sandown. So, I mean, to take your pick there, it's quite a tricky race. It's quite a tricky one, really, to try and fiddle through that. Yeah.
Because I quite liked Go With The Flow a few seasons ago. I don't know what kind of ground he likes. I don't know whether I've got his profile right enough. He looks nice enough. I think he beat Paisley Park, didn't he, a couple of seasons ago? Jamie, is there anything you've had a look at in here that you can nap up?
I think this Imperial Aura is one of the best of the weekend. I really do. If you watch back the race of Pim the last day, I think he traded favourite coming down the hill, and he was tanking along. And all of a sudden, he just stopped after the second lap. So that was over 3 mile one. This is 2.5. He's got a mark 1:36 now. Obviously, you wouldn't want to be winning this too far if he wants to run in the close brothers. So I see there a couple of weeks ago as well, Mr. Fancy Pants, I call him now, Paul Keeley, is after putting up Imperial Order for the close brothers. So he's even hoping that he doesn't get a £9 rise if he wins the weekend. So I think this is the bet of the weekend. On the form line with him, I think this is the one. I'm just looking at the other ones. The only thing is that the weights are going to go nearly £1 and £4, I'd say, by the time Sam Crow and Dallas they picked on don't turn up. I like the one that interests me the most about Gordon Elliott's entries is Galvin. I think this is a fat job all year as well. Now he's got 1-4-2, so he's definitely going to be running a novice handicap. Every time I've seen this horse this year, like he's good form behind Salsaretta. Salsaretta won the last day, beat him by 8 lengths. I thought that day Davy Russell just pulled him and thought, we'll wait for his mark. Then Salsaretta came out last the weekend before it punched on and packed up. Now I know it was against Mayors, but whatever. But I think this Galvin is one to watch, but obviously he's not going to be running the weekend. He's only a 6-year-old. Sure, he's going to be improving. 5th last year in the Ballymore. So, he'll
get in the close brothers when he offered 1-4-2. And so I remember last season, it was touted about a few times on some previews and bits and pieces as maybe a lively outsider for the Ballymore. Didn't quite sort of show up to that, but there's definitely something about him, isn't there? And like you say, 6-year-old, it wouldn't be like Gordon Elliott not to plot a horse, would it? Just, like you say, it's the fact that he enters them over the weekend, isn't it? To get the British marks, to see where he might be able to go, maybe.
This is going to be a norm now, Dave. This is what's going to happen now. This is going to, like last week in the Lanzarote, Kevin Cromwell entered. I like the way he's thinking and never ran him. It's just the way the system is. I know, fair enough, the British handicapper has to give him the Irish horse at £7 is still not making a difference. But this is going to be a norm now where you're going to see conjuncted handicaps where Irish horses come over. Half English horses are about, 14, 15 pounds behind them, but they're only just finding out what their mark are. Which is then going to have small fields leading up to the festival every single week. I don't know what they're going to do after that, because this is going to be the norm from now on.
Yeah, and it's different as well, it's only different because obviously the handicapper has changed hands now, and there's been loads of talk today about Maracuja's mark going up £11 and the fact that he's maybe potentially being too harsh. But
that was a disgrace.
Yeah, and it is one of them things that you have to ultimately trust somebody to make an opinion, and any official rating, whether it's time form, racing post ratings, official rating, it is just someone's opinion. I mean, they obviously do get a load of stick for it, but the owners went there to pick up some prize money because they knew it was going to be a small field. They've got a massive payday out of it. I don't think they'll care that they won't win another handicap maybe for another 6 months. They went there to do a job. I reckon maybe he's punished them for that. You can't just go to these places, nick up some prize money with no interest of winning and not be punished maybe. But who knows? That's a story for another day. We've got yet another handicap to go on to. The Grade 3, the Cheltenham Trophy Handicap Chase. Loads of decent entries in here. I'm hoping when we do the stats on this one, Alan, that you're going to tell me that Dan Skelton trained 10-year-olds named 2 Taffs have got good records in this race.
Right. So we need a winner over. They have to have one over 2 mile 5 furlongs. One between 1 and 4 wins over fences. Top 2 finished last time. Rated 130 at plus. So in betting order, who we come out with: Spirit of the Games, Warthog, the King's Wit, and Flowery. That is your lot. That is what I came out with. So unfortunately, there is a Dan Skelton horse there, but it's not the one you wanted.
No, I know. I think, yeah, because he went in the Ladbrokes Trophy the last day, didn't he? Even when they entered him for the Ladbrokes Trophy, there was something I wanted to back it because I'm thinking, this horse is going to win. I had the wind up. They sent it over a trip just for a day out. I couldn't see stepping up and trip being the right answer for him that day. The fact they're dropping back, he was a reasonable double-figure price, I think, earlier in the week. Harry Skelton's already jocked up. I haven't really looked in the race in any real depth, but just because I had that little line in with him from a few races ago, he's one I'm definitely interested in. He is obviously a 10-year-old now, and he could just be gone, but we know that Skelton likes to plot some stuff. Jamie, is anything you've looked at and liked in here?
No, Dave, it wouldn't be my type of race. No, I'd say you can move on when it comes to me in that one.
So we can get on to now the Grade 2 Paddy Power Cotswold Chase. In fairness to it, I've seen worse renewals at this sort of entry stage. I'm really excited to see Santini back around Cheltenham. Price-wise, there's no way I'd be backing him. I don't think there'd be anything in the race that would tempt me in terms of a bet. What a great preview this is going to end up being. But it is just interesting to see how Santini really stacks up, because obviously that reappearance run with now McGinty potentially doesn't look as bad as it might have done to begin with, but I don't know. I just wasn't really very impressed with him. Now we know that he had a foot problem last year, Santini. There was rumours that he wasn't even going to make the festival. Maybe it's just he's had a long summer and he wasn't too ready. Then they just wanted to get him out for the sake of getting him out. Obviously, they had no choice, or they had no sort of inclination to go towards the Ladbrokes Trophy, which I thought would have been perfect for him. So maybe I'm being slightly overcritical of Santini, and he is a horse that I really like. I did fancy him for the RSA last year, and he although he sort of, I feel like he bottled it a little bit towards the end. I mean, he probably will be better the further that he goes. I'm glad that he's in there. And I hope that he goes and wins quite comfortably, but I couldn't be backing him at the price. Jamie, what do you make of it?
Slightly my dark horse, Dave, in my head for the Gold Cup, but you have to see him around Cheltenham around this trip as well. On top of that, an extra furlong is it compared to the RSA? He has 7 pounds. So technically, he's getting £2 off Bristol de Mai. So he's technically 4 or 5 pounds to fine. Is Bristol de Mai? I know he was third last year in the Gold Cup. Is Bristol de Mai at his best around Cheltenham? Who knows? But if you really think he's a Gold Cup horse, he has to be winning it.
That's where I feel a bit stuck with him. I feel like he should be winning it.
Yeah, you can't be backing him at what's the top price, 7-4?
Yeah.
It's not really a betting proposition. It's a watching race, really, David. It's a match.
Yeah.
Looking at the betting and looking at the rating, it is a complete match. And to be honest with you, if you're going with the horse for you with the potential to be better than he's marked. So that team wouldn't have a bet in the race, but I hope he wins. And that'll be another addition to the Gold Cup.
That's it. And obviously, Darash counters, I'm not 100% sure it's definitely going to come now, but I think they were planning on coming here. Topville Ben was thinking of going somewhere else, but looking at the entries now, they're thinking they might as well have a spin round here as well. Slate House, I think, seen a little bit of money this week. The fact that he obviously won the Counter Star Novices Chase, it's more Cheltenham experience for him going into a Gold Cup. Other preparation races that Colin Tizard likes to use, he'll have to use for Native River, the Denman Chase. So, I mean, he'd be interested in there, but and I suppose if they're thinking of him running in this and then he went and won this, they'd be swerving the RSA and going for a tilt at the Gold Cup. Do you reckon?
Oh yeah. Like, I know he's won. He won the Ladbrokes Trophy, but is he good enough to win an RSA as well, even in a good year? Like, no, it's not. Like, if you look back at, it's going to be a decent RSA. Like, if you think about it, with Champ, Vanilla, Indoor, Allaho, and all those type of horses in the race, will he be good enough even to beat them? Do you know what I mean? So I thought it was a weak enough Ladbrokes Trophy, NSD, stroke NSD. I have no interest in him. I don't think he's good enough. I might be wrong, but I can't say it.
Yeah, fair enough. Allan, have you got any stats that will get us out of the woodwork with an absolute nappo?
Well, I'll tell you the horses that come out in the stats: Delta Work, Topville Ben, Santini, the Resher Counter, and Slate House. So just touch on Slate House. I was really excited when he fell at Cheltenham. He was absolutely tanking. He won the next time. I was less excited with him at Kempton, so I think he's peaked. I can't see the way Santini. I 100% agree with what you're saying. He's the one with the potential coming into the race. But when I look at that, is Delta work? Is he going to go?
I wouldn't.
Cup, I'd say.
What was that?
Irish Gold Cup, I'd say.
He's going out because, as it stands just now, as I would have looked at it, of the one of those that I would have thought would have been the Gold Cup horse out with that, it would have been Delta work. Bristol de Mai, he just doesn't perform around here. I thought when he was 7-8, I thought this could be the next, but he's just never taken that next step up. He does well at Haydock, he just never. And then even when you go to Aintree, you expect him to beat them up, and he did all the time at Aintree. And so yeah, unfortunately, that Delta work's not going. That would have been the one, but I couldn't pick one. So, Santini, you're going to potential, but I don't get excited about him either. So, and I agree. Jurassic Counter, that wasn't a great Ladbroke Jurassic Counter one. So yeah, I'll just make a decision on the day, I think.
Yeah, so it looks much more like a watcher brief, I think. And it is interesting you mentioned Delta work there, because obviously if he did come over, then it would change the complexity of the race completely. I can't see him coming in, but I mean, if he did, it would be a great addition in there.
If he came, he would win, I think. I thought if he came, he would win.
Yeah. So, the only thing, so one other thing that I wrote down to mention about Slate House is obviously that fall that you touched on, which was round Cheltenham. And like I say, in terms of preparation, all those sort of things, he's had enough races by now to know what he's doing. They maybe just are thinking as a confidence boost to just let him have a spin round here. But anywho,
and that fence catches them out. It can catch them out there as well. But I mean, he was absolutely tanking.
Yeah, it was, and he's won twice after with no. Make any mistakes, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. So a more exciting race on the day for me, the Classic Novice Hurdle, the Ballymore Novices Hurdle, another Grade 2. It's a race that over the years we've had the first and the second go on to compete in the Ballymore and the Albert Bartlett. We've had winners of both those races that have come out of this. Loads of decent entries that are in here. Protector Furat that lost the race and then won it back after the appeal. Kind of forced-ish to come this route, I suppose. It was a decent performance the last day, but it's just that penalty is going to be really hard for him. House Island for Paul Webber been running well. It's been doing lots of decent run-ins in decent enough races, but he's always just looked like he might be shy of top class. But he is a horse that I do think is quite nice. Harry Senior, whether he comes in or not, I'm not sure, but obviously he got his first win the last day. King Roland's one that I think we all probably want to see turn up at Cheltenham. I think Harry Fry said he's going to wait till just before the day to see whether he does step him up and run in here, but they are looking at stepping up in Trip. Obviously, the market leader is Sporting John at the moment for Philip Hobbs. I've been ridiculously impressed with how he came on from his first run to his second run. I just thought he just looks like a horse that's going places. Time flies by. It's also with JP McManus. Nicky Henderson did mention something a couple of weeks ago suggesting that it's almost definite that he comes in this race as well. So I wouldn't be 100% sure that both the JP horses go. So we'd have to just see on that one. But yeah, it does potentially look a really nice, exciting race if they all lined up. There's loads in there that could be good. The price on Sporting John just looks too short. We'll have to see what the final feeling is, but it's another race that at the way the market is at the moment, I can't really see too much value. So, Alan, I'm going to come next to you. Any stats, anything that's jumped out to you that we can get excited about?
Well, the obvious ones come out. Sporting John, King Roland, Harran Senior, Protectorate, House Island, Boss's Oscar, One Touch, and Uptown Harry. Sporting John, yeah, as you say, I don't mind backing him. It's exciting, just like winning, to be honest with you. I'd love to see King Roland come up, but I know officially on stats he hasn't got the win over 2 mile 4, but I like to include the point for him as well because if we've won over 3 on point, so I do like to include that. So he he makes it. You'd like to see them two, but Sporting John, Phillips Hobbs, he's good in these sorts of races at Cheltenham as well. So he's going to have, this is the one he's putting forward. So, yeah. It's not very original, but.
No, I know. But sometimes that's the best way to be.
Yeah.
He's only gone right-handed, Sporting John, isn't he? And it was the same time twice around the same track as well. So I suppose he's got that little question mark to answer in there. Jamie, have you picked out an absolute good thing in here?
I don't know if he's an absolute good thing, Dave, but he's rated 13 pounds higher already than King Roland. And King Roland's after breaking the track record in Exeter. So, yeah, I suppose the only worry is that he's never gone left-handed. I would say that, but he looks bomb-proof at the moment. But you have to say, like, at 5-1 each way, you can't see King Roland with the potential he has to not be out of the first three. One that really interested me for an entry, for point of view, is Emmett Mullen's horse called Rocket Left.
Yeah.
Mark 145. Now, this horse is entered in Huntington, I think, on Friday. Do they have a per-time qualifier in Huntington Friday?
There is, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was favourite the last day for that listed 3 mile hurdle at Cork the last day, and he just finished 5th. So I wonder, he's a horse to look out for maybe for the per-10 final. It's just interesting to see he's entered here and entered at Huntington. I presume he'll go to Huntington on Friday, finish 5th or 6th, and he'll get in with a mark of 145. So he's going to go for it. But as I say, if I was going for a pick, it would be King Roland each way. If you can get about 5-1, there's this 5-1 here with Coral and Labrook. Coral and Labrook. Coral are 5-1. I'd have to go a bit each way. I can't see him out the first three.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And that's why, again, with this meeting, which I touched on right at the beginning of it, from years and years of experience with it, there can always be valued like short-term anti-post, but the majority of cases for this particular meeting, there isn't much juice in the price. You are so far better waiting until you get the final declarations to see those sort of plays. That Potemps qualifier that you did mention has a horse in the next race that's also entered there. So Kilbrick and Storm is entered up in the Cleve Hurdle at Cheltenham. He's also in that Huntington race, potentially lurking for a Potemps handicap mark as well. So that's 2 of the 6 places taken already. But obviously, we've got the Cleve Hurdle. For me, this is it is a fact. It's the most exciting day of the race of the card. It's probably going to be up there in terms of one of the clashes of the year, I think, in the hurdling division. Given the fact that I don't think necessarily what happens in this race on Saturday will 100% be upheld when it comes to Cheltenham. I think if the cap fits, only rated £3 inferior than Paisley Park, and you consider what Paisley Park did last season, all those victories. I'm slightly put off with if the cap fits, given his Aintree performance had Roxana so close, but I mean, she was flying at the time. But it's just one of them that first look for if the cap fits comes around Cheltenham. I'm not 100% sure the undulating track of Cheltenham will suit him, but given what he's done at Ascot, I could maybe give him a chance. And I do think he's one of those that if he did get beat a couple of lengths or a few lengths by Paisley Park, I wouldn't completely rule him out of getting a bit closer when it comes to the Stairs Hurdle proper. The interesting thing with the Cleve Hurdle every year is, well, it's just the same the way that it's run. It's such a long running after the last hurdle at this time of year, and then once it gets to the festival, it's the shortest distance from the last hurdle to the finishing line that it is for the whole year. So it's a different complexity in the race. That's where Lammy Surge gets interested in here. A couple of years ago when he got beat, well, Penhill won the Stairs Hurdle. Daryl Jacob was talking about the fact that he thought he might be able to kid him into not realising it was the last hurdle. That plan went out the window when he wasn't even travelling into the last. But it'll be interesting to see if he comes in and what they do. But I just think it should just, I'd like to just hope that it's just Paisley Park, and if the cap fits, pull a few lengths clear. And I'd like to hope that Paisley Park wins with a bit in hand. Jamie, what do you make of it?
Oh, it's a complete watching brief, Dave. Hopefully, in my head, as you say, I know what you're saying. It's on the longest to the shortest distance to the line, the festival. But like it's just a watching brief for me, Dave. I just want to find out if the cap fit is a £3 or soft horse than Paisley Park. I think Paisley Park is more than a 169 horse. So he should have more pounds in hand. Now, will he win by far? I don't think he'll win by that far. It's just the only thing that will worry about if the Catfit's never been around Cheltenham. Kind of fancied him a couple of years ago for the Supreme. He was very impressive that day at Kempton, but that was never flat track, going right-handed. Like, he ploughed through the last year in that entry with, and Roxana was so close, and Roxana hadn't done much this year. And Roxana wouldn't even want the mayor's her, like, do you know what I mean? So watch him brief, see how close he can get. But you can't be nothing beating Paisley Parker. He's like a big box. He looks like he's beat, but he'll still beat you at the end when it really matters.
Absolutely. And the thing in this race last year as well, I was really impressed with from Aidan Coleman, was the fact that Emma Novella talks about quite a few times that Paisley Park, when he's at home in schools, even schools over hurdles with another horse, because he can get quite lonely and make mistakes. And given the fact that there is the difference in distance, Aidan Coleman did send him on at the last year, and it's still such a long way after. So he obviously took a bit of a punt with him. They haven't got to get any more education around Cheltenham now. He's been there, he's done it. They know what they're doing. If the Catfits will be the one that's maybe toying about a little bit. Do we think there's any chance Apples J comes over? Because I would love to see it.
She goes Thursday at Goran, I think, Dave.
Yeah.
In the Gantry.
Yeah, I read that earlier, yeah.
So, because I think they are leaning towards the stayers hurdle if she comes over to Cheltenham, because they were saying they might potentially swerve it. It would just, I mean, if she ran this particular race, wouldn't be springtime, might be the right sort of time of year for her to be more competitive in there, but that was just me wishing more than anything. Allan, stat-wise, just Paisley Park wins, surely.
Paisley Park, if the cap fits, and Somerville Boy. But I'm excited. I think this is where, I don't want to say we're entering a golden era of staying hurdlers, but I think these two, this is where we find out how close, exactly as you say, how close they are. And these two both fight and they dig in. Jamie was saying about looking like big bucks. He kind of looks like he'd be that. If the cap fits, you never know with him until they get over the last, and he always looks as if he's struggling. He's another one that goes. You had your English Divas did that as well. I think we've got two Rockies here, and we're gonna have a couple of, if the cap fit handles Cheltenham, we're gonna have a couple of years with these two. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be, because these are two right at the top at the moment. They're not in the same league as your big bucks as your English Diva, but I'm looking forward to what these two could. If the cap fits, I'm looking forward to these two meeting.
Yeah, it should be great, shouldn't it? And this year as well, Emma Lavelle said that she's going to try and not necessarily leave a bit off, but she wants to make Paisley Park go to Punchestown as well.
Yeah.
Also,
and if the cap fits, we know at Aintree that would be a proper fight. But if a Paisley Park was to do the treble, to maybe do the three, I don't know if that's on the plan, but those two at Aintree.
And that would be something special, wouldn't it? And obviously, if the cap fits in that win at Aintree, it's easy to forget because Apples Jade made a bit of a hash of one, but he almost went down at the last. He jumped right through one. It was a decent performance at Aintree, and to be fair to him, he didn't do anything wrong at Ascot after. So we've got that one covered. Unfortunately, it does look like quite a few bits of watching brief. I don't know if you guys have got anything in the handicap. I picked out Benny's Bridge in the race last year and was quite strong on him, and he won like the best thing you've ever seen in your life. But there is a couple in here that I kind of like. I just need to wait for final decks for them. So because I'm going to probably have a punt on one of them, I'm going to keep my powder dry in this race. Jamie, is there anything you can let off?
I suppose the only one entered, Dave, is that Miranda. There's a lot of talk about that horse, but I think she might. Doncaster is it for that mare's hurdle yet? But if she turns up, she'd interest me. But after that, never really a race that throws up much. Really does it for the festival. So you know what I mean? It's wouldn't interest me there.
Okay, mate. And Allan, does it throw anything up for the festival? Is there anything in it?
No, but I have to come back to the Cotswold Chase. I forgot a very important stat. In the last 16 years, there has been no winning favourites. So Santini gets the chop. Also, the more I'm looking at it, that Slate House, I'm looking at it again, and he just keeps pinging out at me, Slate House. I think it's like that Elegant Escape, isn't he? Maybe a bit better. So we might find out what he is. Yeah. Anyway, so Santini's out of that, and I don't have an opinion on that last race. No.
Yeah, fair enough. The beauty of, or the one thing I will say, is I do like a stat like that where it's just there's something about it that you don't want to get stuck into it. You're tempted to back it because it looks okay. Stats like that are enough to put you off, aren't they?
Yeah, especially in a race like that.
But
You're
they're all
doing
there to
anyway.
be broken, aren't they? So there is some other decent action over the weekend. There's actually some half decent racing Thursday, Friday too. We'll quickly skim through all of it. Hopefully get it done in the next sort of 10, 15 minutes. But Jamie, I'll let you pick out. Is there any races or any days you definitely want to go through?
I'll take there now, Dave.
Gordon,
obviously. News came out today was that they're presenting Percy. He's not going to run, so he's not going for 3 Ganmides in a row. So you can see that Apple's Jade is going to be should be warm order for this. I can't see anything beating her, to be honest with you. The 3 mile hurdle division over here is not great at the moment. I don't think it'd be great for a couple of years if the Catfit wins on Saturday. I suppose looking at the maiden hurdle, if you want to form line with our horse for the Martin Pipe, Colin McFire, you have, I don't know how you pronounce it, Ina, Richard. She's really she's going in the mare's hurdle at 120 on Thursday. She should be a warmer. She should win.
Yep.
After that, I suppose it's the Tayestes. I really fancy a horse for the Tayestes, Dave, and it all depends if it gets the ground. It's a horse called Manila Fair, trained by Noel Mead. I think this horse needs a bog. And like, if you listen to the Racing Postcast last week, Dave Jennings said he talked to Sean Flanagan after the last race in the Paddy Power chase at Leopardstown, and Sean Flanagan got off and said, "Look, Dave, I know a big cracking smart last year in a Limerick beginner's chase, and it was a bog day, and you know the way Limerick gets heavy ground." And he said, "This needs a really, really soft surface." Now, at the moment, the ground at Gowran Park is heavy, so any bit more rain, it's going to get worse. And that place can get really boggy, like any Irish track. But I really, really think this horse is a great bet each way. I'm going to get a price there now, 1 second. But
25 cents, I think maybe.
Going back to the Galmai, I'm just looking at it here. Benny the Jew won't run. Presenting Percy won't run. We have Apple's Jade. You might have Bacchusson come back here for Willie Mullins, but Bacchusson's only rated 147 over hurdles, so you can't see that. Penn Hill looks like he's done. Gardens of Babylon's not good. So that's Apple's Jade to lose, really, to be honest with you. After that, if you have an opinion, I can go back to that. It's just loading here for me, so if you want to talk away, and I'll come back to me if you want.
Yeah, the only other things that Gowran was interested, they've got a beginner's chase in there. Nothing particularly exciting in there, but Valdir was one that we mentioned a while time before. Still hasn't really done a lot. I still think there's something in him at some point, so I'll be interested to see if he runs again. And then the bumper doesn't look very good, but hardwired, I mentioned that last time. Ted Walsh, it didn't come off that day. I'd like to think he's better than that, but it doesn't particularly look a great bumper. I think the best of the Irish action comes on Sunday. So is there anything, Jamie?
1 second there now. At the moment, my choice anyway for the places would be Manila Fair. And the beginner's chase, I'm just looking at it there now. I know this has gone very slow on me.
That's all right, mate.
Normally that beginner's chase is decent this time of year for some reason, but it doesn't look like it. 1 second there now. Oh yeah. I was very disappointed last day in a horse called Chosen Mate. I thought he looked like he was only going on for a handicap mark. There was Ante, Willie Mullins, Capuccio. Is that Capuccio mix who went around Navan that day and he fell at the last? It was a big grey horse or something. Was it like
the Rob Kerr horse?
Yeah. It looked like it was going to win, but no, it's poor. I just looking at there, it's very poor.
Yeah, it's normally, like you say, it's normally quite a good Renault, which is the only reason I had a little look at it before. But yeah, it doesn't look too great. So we'll bin off the rest. Is there anything else Thursday?
No, move on.
Alan, anything Thursday for you? Right, Doncaster on Friday. They've got a 2-day meeting this weekend. So they've got Friday and then they've got some stuff on Saturday. On the Friday, there's there's a few horses entered in a few maiden hurdles over the next few days that are quite interesting. Probably the maiden hurdle that excites me the most, well, it might be the juvenile hurdle there. No, it's a novices hurdle. Black Pirate, Mr. Coffee are both entered in there. Now, I don't think they'll go up against each other, but Mr. Coffee obviously will be interested to see what he does after he won so well at Newbury. But that Black Pirate, he had some really nice bumper form. It was a ridiculous layoff that he came back off the last time when he won. Winning margin wouldn't look great, but he's bound to have come on for that. So if something like Mr. Coffee swerves that race, that looks a weak enough novices hurdle, I think, and we might still get a bit of a price on Black Pirate. So he'd be one I'm interested in on Friday. There is a mare's juvenile listed race before that. Midnight's Gift for Allan King runs. That was well beaten by that Marie's Rock of Nicky Henderson. So I'm only interested in that for form lines. But anything either of you two like on Friday?
No.
Yeah, getting easy, isn't it? Saturday at Doncaster, then there is a couple there. Surely we're excited about. We have the Riverdon Novices Hurdle. We've got the Mares Hurdle, but there's also the Lightning Novices Chase. That's the one that Dynamite Dollars won last year, didn't he?
Yep.
So it's not one that really excites me because you look at this for like an Arkle sort of trial. You'd like to think there's going to be something good enough in there. I don't think Al Dance is good enough to win an Arkle, but maybe being a bit harsh, I think he probably is the best horse that's in this particular race. I'm really interested to see how well Lisp gets on because I thought he looked quite good the last day. Fanny and Destraval obviously just came unstuck after that decent performance at Newbury. It doesn't particularly look a vintage one, but I'll be really interested to see if Dan Skelton's, don't know how to say it, Marie Banry. We've got Jamie on here. Jamie, how do we say
it? Technically, she's technically Irish way. It's Maura Banry.
There we go.
But everyone says it's Marie Banry. Like, no, it's Maura Banry is the Irish pronunciation.
Because she's entered there. She's entered at Huntingdon as well on Friday in a mare's chase, isn't she? But I'd rather see her go against the boys. What do you think?
She should really do because she's rated 148 and she's getting £7 off the rest. So, you know what I mean? Lisp, I was looking back at the Grand Annual. Lisp gets it, ran a Plumpton, won a Plumpton. So that sure is going to go for a handicap because there's obviously the 60,000 bonus. And like that horse last year was fifth in the county hurdle, so I presume this horse is being lined up with a rating of 144. So I know Tom Cannon's jocked up here, but I'd be more interested in the handicap. I don't think he's good enough to win an Arkle or JLT. So like 144 for wins, we'll give him the novice handicap. So even if it went up £3 or £4, 147 for a Grand Annual rating is not too bad, I suppose. I told you the horse that had beat Fanny and Destraval the last day.
You did.
But I fancy him here because it's a bigger, more galloping track, longer running. I suppose if you want, I don't like that dancer, don't rate him at all. If I was having a selection for the race, you'd have to, on known form, you'd have to go with Mr. Fisher. I thought he was impressive enough that actually battled well. And that was over 2.5. This is 2 miles. And you know the way Doncaster can get a war of attrition up the long home straight with 4 fences there. If I was to have a selection, but it wouldn't be a confident one, it'd be Mr. Fisher.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. And he's so good on those flat tracks, isn't he, as well? So
yeah.
he everything was right for him the last day, to be fair. Alan, any opinion in the race?
No, I like that Moiri Banner. I like that one. If you look at this, beat Thomas Darby the other day. This could be the time to take the boys on and see what they've got because Mr. Fisher is a nice horse, but this is a very average bunch, isn't it? So I agree, Al Dancer. What was a carry on that? He's just blown up. He's just massively overrated. I'd go for this. I'd have a pop with her. She's smart, so go for it.
That's it. Yeah, it just depends.
It's great to see it, you know.
They know what the best thing to do is, but she gets £7 from the worst rated horse, but she actually gets, I think she gets £12 from the top rated horse in the race because of the conditions. But we'll just have to see where they go.
It'd be one worth having a pop at, and you'd get to find out exactly where you stand with her, rather than putting her in that on at Huntington, and then what is she?
Exactly. There's not really, especially when you're in your novice season, because you can take those sort of mares listed chases next season when you're in open company. There's less options for them. When you're a novice, I still think you should take on the novices, really. We've got the River Don Novices Hurdle, Grade 2, can be classed as a trial for an Albert Bartlett. I haven't done anything in terms of stats of winners of this going on to win an Albert Bartlett, but I'll pick up the race on Wikipedia while we're waiting. I've looked at it a couple of times. There's definitely a couple of horses that probably won't be running in here, which are Gordon Elliott's entries. There isn't anything in here that particularly gets me excited. I think the best thing that Champagne Well could do is to come here and not go and run at Cheltenham. I think it's the best place for him to come. But I don't think it looks very good. Jamie, can you get excited about it?
No, not really, Dave, to be honest with you. Like, the favourite here, 3-1 Bossman Frey. Like, his last run, he was only rated 124. He went up 10 pounds. I know he gets weighed off Champagne Well, but it's only 3 pounds off Champagne Well, and Champagne Well is rated 141. He's chopped up here. I know I two preferences Champagne Well, but you can see him coming here. If they want to find out if he's an Albert Bartlett horse, no. I thought he got out battled last day at Cheltenham.
Yeah.
Well, he did bat well. He travelled like the best horse in the race, so he's better off coming here. He'd be warm order here if he came here. But like, he's 3-4 to 1 at the moment. That's probably the best. But nothing really excites me there. My least favourite race of the festival is the Albert Bartlett.
Yeah, it's one that's quite nice because there's lots of potential horses in there. And if your horse gets beaten in the Albert Bartlett, where you've still got a chance for the RSA the year after. But it is one of them that the typical trials for those sort of races, they don't really stand the test of time. There is a trial at Cheltenham that Kilbrook and Storm won that tends to be okay. But yeah, I don't think there's anything in there that would, even if it won the race and it won it emphatically, would be interesting me in the Albert Bartlett proper. Allan, anything that gets your juices going in that one?
No, nothing in that.
There is a mare's hurdle at Doncaster. I mean, I'm not particularly keen on this race anyway, so we could swerve it. But I suppose the fact that Floressa is entered, jocked up by the looks of it, so she looks like she probably will be going on and taking on the big kids. It'll be interesting to see because she was entitled to redo the form with Silver Forever at Newbury. She actually did impress me with how she went and did it then. This would be a serious stamp if she did take on Lady Buttons and she managed to beat Lady Buttons. She'd have to be short for the Mare's Novice Hurdle after that if she did. But it's not a race that really excites me. Either of you two keen on it?
Not really keen there, but as you say, if this Floressa does win, it'd have to be nearly borderline banker material for the Mare's Novice, like, because with all the back form Silver Forever, the Irish horse, can't think of his name, was second to Fiddler on the Roof in the Tolbert. Jeremy Slane, that's it. If this horse, like, if you look at it, it's getting £4 from Lady Buttons, and there's only £4 in the rating. So,
but that's the thing, Lady Buttons.
If it's any good, it should be winning. You know what I mean? You don't know here, so to know in these races. As I said to you there, that Miranda's jock is entered here, but I presume it'll go to Cheltenham for the handicap if it's only got a handicap mark of 133. But
right.
It's a match. It looks like it's going to be a match, like between Floressa and Lady Buttons. You go with the form and the outstanding form of Lady Buttons, and she's been around the block and the whole lot. But you should go always, I think, with the horse with potential to be better than its mark. So I think Floressa should win.
Yeah, and it's definitely worth keeping an eye on it, because if she does bolt up there, then, like you say, potentially should be a good thing for the Mare's Novice Hurdle at Cheltenham. There is a Mare's Hurdle on Sunday at Naas where Willie Mullins sent a few out, so we'll come on to that in a second. But one thing I will say is, while the action's going thick and fast on a Saturday, where we've given like a little line in there or a little hint to say if Floressa did do that, she'll shorten up for the Mare's Novice Hurdle, just add them to your bet slip anti-post, because all the bookies are so slow. When Shishkin won at Newbury, Paddy Power had it for 7 minutes and 46 seconds. They still had him at 25 to 1 for the Supreme. It's just stupid things that happen. And that one, like Floressa, she would shorten up heavily, wouldn't she?
But 6 to 1 out there for Shishkin's a joke. Like, it's one of maiden hurdle.
I know. It's the wrong price completely. But the 25 to 1 that was held after,
yeah, which is,
he's gone down to. Some of them are so slow, aren't they? There was a couple of years ago when Lorena and what was the British one? Stuart Edmonds' horse, was it? I can't remember. But there was two mares running and 2 mares novice hurdles.
His benefit, was it?
That's it. Yes. And they were both 16-1 before they ran their races for the mares novice hurdle, and they both won by decent margins. And you could still back both of them after both of them had won with William Hill at 16-1, and they were like 3-1 everywhere else. Balmy. But these busy weekends are good for us punters if you keep an eye on it. I did mention that mares hurdle. It is Saturday, isn't it? It's the Sonorina.
Oh, the one at Ferry House. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So we might as well, while we're talking about the girls, we can squeeze onto that. So looks a pretty decent race in terms of entries. It's normally quite a good form line going into the festival. Manila Melody, I still think she's probably the best novice mare that I've seen this season. Dolcita obviously has got the Willie Mullins profile and there's Jonah Sullivan with Lorena sort of thing going about it. Gin on Lime for Mrs. Harrington or Jessica Harrington. Running that over Christmas, but they were a bit worried about the yards form, so they've held it back for this. Cool Reevy's in there for Willie Mullins. Ard Abhain was so good for Gordon Elliott the last day. Just looks a really, really exciting race to me. What do you think of it, Adam?
I must admit, I haven't really looked. That's the first time I'm looking at it just now. This one, I'm not too big on these mare novices.
See, I'm not normally, and that's probably why I sound like a hypocrite when I get excited about this one. But I think in terms of potential for this, I reckon there could be. Well, before this race, anyway, I'd say there's 4 or 5 mares in here that could be quite good. So if any one of them went and won it convincingly, which Manila Melody will do, she's going to absolutely bolt up. But I reckon we could be talking about a proper mare. So maybe we need to add these ones onto the bet slip then for when Floressa wins and we've done our nuts on her. We've got to get some cover in one of these. Jamie, have you had a look at it?
Oh yeah, I really like this race, Dave. This is always the best trade, I think, for the mares novice. I suppose you're looking at Dolcita anyway, is definitely a one to look at. I thought Yukon Lil was impressive the last day at Nath, but she didn't jump enough hurdles for me, and she was a good bumper horse. Highly tried in those little mares races around the summer and all this jazz. But to be honest, if I was having the selection, as I said to you before the last one, I'd have to go Colreevy with the back form with beating Abercrombie last year in the Punchestown bumper. And I think this horse, like it was second to Midnight Run in Park on debut. Yeah. This horse, good ground, I think. No, she might not get it the weekend at Ferry House, but if you're looking at potential from last year, and she won last day as well, handy enough, like in a knocking race, really. So did Dolcita, so did Yukon Lil. If you see Colreevy, well, Dolcita definitely run here. Should definitely run here. But if Colreevy ran, that would be my selection there so far, because I think there's untapped potential there.
Yeah, I agree. She does look a nice, smart mare. And I say the good thing, when they price up these markets before we know the final declarations, sometimes the money's already moved the market, all those bits and pieces. This is the sort of one that you could wait for first show. They might make a bit of a rick and price something like Colreevy or maybe even Manila Melody too big. I think Dolcita will be I reckon she'll be an odds-on favourite for it, to be honest, because she did win by the distance. All those, like I say, the Willie Mullins, O'Sullivan thing going in with it. But I would be tempted to take on if she was that short. But we've also got a beginner's chase. That's right at the start of the card. So that's where Allaho's entered. And I think that is where Allaho's going to run. And that's why when I did my last little anti-post insight video, I did mention JLT, because Patrick Mullins said that's probably where he's going to go. He's been back from 33s into 20s before he's come out since. So I feel like that's the sort of trip he should be running at. I think Albert Bartlett, he just didn't seem to stay. Or obviously, Manila Indo was quite impressive. But then when he ran at Punchestown and he was trying to do the donkey work from the front, I just looked at him and just thought, this horse just doesn't stay. So I know he's been touted for an RSA, all those bits and pieces, but I'm glad to see him drop back in trip. And other than Walkaway, who I do think is a nice type, I just think this looks an absolute penalty kick for him. Jamie, do you like it?
Yeah, it's been interesting to see that. Patrick Mullins said last day that he could end up in a JLT. Reminds me of Black Hercules, he said. And I backed Black Hercules. I was really sweet Black Hercules that year to win the JLT. So the only problem is, Dave, is that what I have is what they're saying is about Cashback and Bob Palmer Arkle. You have Mellon, and Lorena possibly for the JLT. Well, they just put Allaho in the RSA with Faheen, so they'll have two horses in each race. I agree with you. I don't think he stays 3 miles. And the sooner they realise that, the better. But because of the way the roster, now it all depends on the racing festival. Some might blow out, some might even turn up. But if he was mine, he'd be definitely a JLT, because I think Mellon's a 2.5 mile horse, and I think Lorena is no good. So to me, I'd be very interested in him if he ran in the JLT. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the tricky thing with Willie Mullins, especially when it gets to this.
Willie Mullins, it's called.
Exactly, yeah. And you were saying about Black Hercules as well, because I ended up backing him in the JLT, but I backed him for the 4 miler after he won a race. He came over to Britain. I can't remember who he won, but he ran in a British race course. He won. That's it. And that was another one in running Betfair on the exchanges. I managed to get, I think it was 100 or 120 for him to win the 4 miler. And after that, they said he's going to go 4 miler. He was like a 16 to 1 shot, even shorter, I think. And then they end up sticking him in the JLT, and he goes and wins it. But Willie Mullins does, I think, will send the horses to the right race, given, like, he knows better than we do, doesn't he? What do you think of Allaho,
Alan? Not much of an opinion on it, really. I agree with what Jamie was saying. I can't see how he could get past the likes of Manella Indo and whatnot. So
yeah, fair enough.
He's a player. He's just a player, and he's not.
It's hard to know where they're going to go as well at this point, and that's the sort of the sad thing. We're still 7 weeks out. We still got to see what they do after. There is some more Willie Mullins bingo coming up, but there's a maiden hurdle with Fly Smart that's finally got an entry. 478 days off. Been a talking horse for season and a half now. Just be excited to see him come out, I guess. He's got plenty of entries in there though, so you just don't know whether he definitely will run, but I'd like to think he will. That was all I really had for the Saturday stuff. Was there anything else, anyone?
Well, you just mentioned him there, Fly Smart. I'm, as you say, waiting for this horse for a year and a half. Is he never going to be another? Is he going to be another Senna Walk? Is that the name of the horse? The most talented horse since fucking, since Juvan and all these horses, like, do you know what I mean? So till you see it on the track, wait till then.
That's it. So we've got there is Sunday, which will be the last bit that we'll cover off. It's got some decent racing in there. There is a horse entered in a bumper that's walking the park, and it's out of Valtor's half sister. Not running at Naas, it's running a British race course. I can't remember who it is, but I'll put it on the write-ups in the page. But that is one. I haven't got my notes with me, but it's somewhere. It's a really interesting entry over the weekend if it does run. But at Naas, there's definitely a few races that were interesting there. The main one that I normally like as a race is the Limestone Lad Hurdle. I think it's quite an underrated race. Espoir de Lam went there and won it last year. Looking at the potential entries in here, I'd really like to see Mengley Khan come back to 2 miles over hurdles just to see what he's about again. He's been out of sorts for a long time now, so this looks like the sort of race I think he could come into. But Stormy Island would be seriously interesting in there, getting the fact that she'd get a mare's allowance. Looks a winnable race, so I'll be semi interested in that. Anything from either of you two in there?
Stormy Island there.
No. It's got to be the one, isn't it? Franco Deport was obviously just so disappointing the last day, but he was exciting before, but I just couldn't have him now. The Grade 3 Novices Chase are probably the most exciting race for Sunday in terms of thinking towards Cheltenham, because Carefully Selected will qualify if he finishes in the first 4 in this race. Willie Mullins has got Allaho entered in here as well, so like we were saying, it's still bingo where he's going to go. Forheen's entered in here as well, so like you said, Jamie, maybe him and Allaho could end up in an RSA. You've got to think that Carefully Selected is running here.
Yeah, he's going to run here, Dave, where he's going to run in the 10 up in Nevin. So they're saying, like, he might run the flow gas. Faheen running the flow gas at the Dublin Racing Festival. You can see Allaho go beginner's chase on Saturday, and Carefully Selected go here, and probably win a 400 or 500 race in the trot around. He'll win, and all roads to the 4 miler.
That's it. He's only had a couple of weeks off, though, like break in between, and it's one of them, like you said, there's the 10 up novice chase that they were thinking of going to as well. But I suppose if this is a weak enough race when they've looked at the entries, just get the qualification in, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Alan, what's your thoughts on Carefully Selected? Do you don't think much about him? Because
I like him. He's got nice form all through the book. This race is going to fall apart big time, isn't it? So, I mean, you look at City Island behind him and Allan, he's got nice form looking all the way back. So,
but just for the Cheltenham Festival as well, there'll be lots of people talking about he's going to go and win the 4 miler. I think it would be well worthy of being an RSA. I think it could be a genuine player in an RSA. Do you think he's good enough?
He's certainly got the pace, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? He does stay as well, but I don't know. It's almost a bit of a waste putting him over for the 4 miler. Do you know what I mean? Do you not think?
Yeah, I agree. And although, technically, I keep calling it the 4 miler as well. I've been saying it's because it's 3 miles 6 furlongs now. But yeah, I think it's a waste.
Waste of him. Yeah, let's see how good he is. Let's see what he is, and then
I'm only saying that because I've backed him at big prices for the RSA.
If he goes down that route, that's the route he goes down, isn't it? The RSA, you've got doors are open, options are open. So.
But they did it last year with Ballywood, didn't they? The late Ballywood, because he died in the 4 mile last year, didn't he? But they were talking about him being Patrick Mullins' ride for that race, and then he won.
But that's what they did last year. Ballyward. That's what they did. They ran him in this race, and he was impressive, and everyone was thinking, "Oh, he'll run in the RSA." Willie Mullins seems to have his top 6 already for the 2 mile, 2.5 mile, and 3 mile. Now it's by default that they have carefully selected where they're going to put him. So I think they're surprised as well at how Faheen has done this year. So that's why by default that Patrick Mullins says every time he's on something that he's going to go to the 4 miler. So Patrick there, I don't understand why he's saying that the horse, they'll go so fast, like the 3.5, 3.6 or whatever it is now. How can you say it's going to be like a handicap? It's not going to be like a handicap. I think he has, because he's an ex-bumper horse, he's second in the bumper, he should have won it really. He'll have too much pace with Champagne Classic up the hill. Because I think if Champagne Classic gets in a battle, his head will go up in the air. And then Patrick Mullins will just cruise home. Do you know what I mean? So he has the speed for 2.5. 3 miles, I wouldn't discount him in an RSA. So he looks like he has to be. It's, as I said, we said it before. It's a 2-horse race for the 4 miler, and whoever wins, best luck to you picking the winner.
Yeah, I agree, and it's because it is such a war of attrition. There's so much luck you need to get in there as well. Just so we get this wrapped up, because I'm conscious that Alan's got to be on the golf course in a couple of hours. There's one more race at Naas that's really interesting, which is the Maiden Hurdle. Now, there's not a huge amount of depth in there, but I like to get myself really excited and look a million miles ahead. There's a few horses in here that have slightly underwhelmed in their first hurdle starts, but they all look like they're potentially going to be really nice chasers going forward. The likes of the Big Getaways in there. We've even got a Graham Wiley horse has entered in there finally. January Jets, it was really bad the last day. 5 o'clock. Made a run after a long layoff. So that'll be one to keep an eye on, I think, more than anything. And then, if I'm not mistaken, the horse that we mentioned earlier, Black Hercules, in winning the JLT, is entered in a Hunter's Chase at Naas.
Yeah.
So we're interested enough race to look at. I can't believe Salsify's in there at 15 after winning 2. It seems like an age since he won those 2. We've mentioned that again, didn't we? Jane Mangan when she came off. That's made it twice.
My old mate, yeah.
That's it. So yeah, I feel like there's nothing else really on Sunday. There was a couple of ones on my notebook, but I haven't printed it off, so I'll just have to put them in the write-ups. But I think we're pretty well covered. I think that's pretty much it then, guys. So I do really appreciate you both coming on. Thanks very much for doing this sort of stuff. And then Alan, if you get some links and stuff sent to me for your super stable stuff.
Oh yeah, we'll do.
We'll start.
Can I just touch on this Hunter's Chase? You talk about this Hunter's Chase. I love this time of year when we're coming into festival season, because it's like you start at a scratch where these hunters have all started coming out, and you're building towards entry as well, and the entry festival with Fox Hunters is coming up and all that. This is a great time, isn't it? It's as a fan, you just get the buzz, and you're starting to pick them all out now. Cello Conti goes as well. Do you know what I mean? All these old names, all these old hunters. I I love getting stuck into the Fox Hunters and finding the Fox Hunters double or something.
Yeah, I like it as well. It's so good the fact that it is, because there's lots of festival races like your Gold Cups that are all 3 milers. The fact that the 2 Fox Hunters at Aintree and Cheltenham are so different races, it's really nice. There is a nice Hunters Chase tomorrow, isn't there? Manila Rocco's going up against Bob and Co. Which you like Bob and Co, didn't you, Jamie?
Oh, Manila Rocco.
Oh. Because there was plenty of people talk about Bob and Co because he's Maxwell's one that they fancied him for. But yeah, Manila Rocco gets some weight tomorrow, doesn't he?
Yeah.
It's like you said, and you get all these like old boys coming out. It's just nostalgic, isn't it? Watching all these little bad boys coming out.
Do you remember that one, Double Silk? Is it Double Silk or Ron Trologan? Was it Trebogan? And it won the Fox Hunters at Cheltenham. And I was I was only a kid at the time, like, but I was invested in this thing. Went to the Grand National. Which year was it now? 93, 94, something like that. And he went down at the 13s. What year was that now? Let me check. Double Silk, he was called. This is very exciting for everyone watching, isn't
it? If anyone's made it this far, then I'm sure they can wait for another couple of seconds.
Right, Double Silk.
Double Silk's older than me.
Oh, do you not remember that? Is that before your time?
It was before me. Yeah.
The Grand National.
He was in the Grand National. He fell at the 13th. I think the loose horse. I was on him. I was invested in this horse, but the loose horse, I say, distracted him. I think a couple of them went down. To be fair, I think he took off and went down. But he'd won the Fox Hunters a year before over the national fences.
Yeah, Mini Homer won it. 1994. You were right.
Well, 94. I went the year after to see Royal Athlete. 95 with my uncle. 14 years old. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fingers crossed. It's near the festival. Then I'm useless with the Fox Hunters, so I'll definitely be getting your verdicts on that before I do my write up on the Friday.
I'll tell you this: the stats never lie, because that year, you know who the trend horse that year, Salsify, won when Jane Mangan came off. The stats horse. Salsify was the only stat horse that year. I swear down. So
I'll be getting them then. Jamie, was there a question to say, mate?
1994, without looking at Google, did Royal Athlete win that Grand National?
Royal Athlete was 90. Royal Athlete was 95, wasn't he? Or 96, I think.
Minute Homer was 94.
Oh, just so Mini Homer. Richard Dunwoody, am I correct?
Yeah. And and then it was it Royal Athlete the year after?
That race tomorrow at Warwick. That was the race that Hazel Hill won last year. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that's hopefully a nice trial for a nice little trot around for the old Manila Rock to win and cruise home then in the Fox Hunters at Cheltenham.
Well, Hazel Hill was entered, wasn't it? But it's not been finally declared. I think it's obviously doesn't want maybe an easier race going into the festival. But yeah, it is exciting this time of year when those types of horses come out.
He's a Grand National. I had him as a Grand National horse at Manila Rocco. I think I don't know what they did there. That was when he was he third in that Gold Cup, was it?
Second.
Right? Yeah, and that was I thought, I think I went for the Grand National that year. Oh.
Killer, innit? Right. Thank you very much for your time, guys. I'm going to cut it short now so we can get it posted, because I'm going to have to stay up and do that. But yeah, thanks for your time.
No worries.
Cheers, guys.